I want to talk to you, Maxine. You know, I want to give you some interview questions or whatnot.
Thank you.
So what is your plans this year production wise? Because I know you're you're big into film and now you're doing podcasting. So just tell me what's in store for us.
So for this year, I've planned 10 projects. They're each dedicated to a specific month. So each of these projects, like for example, Who's Next, the one that I'm doing for February, is going to really highlight Black issues, Black stories, and really get an insight on what we go through. And also to remember the people who we've lost in 2020, because that's something that's important to me. Like, I notice in this day and age, you know, we tend to forget so easily because like there's constant news just being like flooded in our faces all the time, right? So that's something I don't want people to forget, you know, and that's being dedicated to all the Black people in the world for Black History Month. Then for Women's History Month in March, I'm doing one called The Truth About Black Misogyny, and how like Black men tend to fail Black women. And that one is like really like intense, I guess. Like it will be a shocker to some, but there are things that Black men do to Black women that is just not right. For example, I remember my sister telling me about a case where like this girl went to a protest and she was protesting with everybody for like George Floyd. And then she wanted to go home. And this guy who was also at the protest said, you know, I could give you a ride and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. And she goes there. He rapes her and then kills her. And I'm just like, and he's a Christian. He identifies as a Christian. He's a Black man. But here you are doing something that tragic to a Black woman for what? For what? You know, there's a narrative that, you know, Black men protects Black women. They are there for Black women and stuff. But I have not seen that, you know, especially during the protest. There were a lot of people who were saying like, oh, we stand for Black Lives Matter. But when it comes to Black women, Black LGBTQ people, Black trans people, where are our men? Where are everybody to defend all of us? You know, because Black people, we have intersectionalities. We're not just Black. We're Black and gay. We're Black and trans. We're Black females. Like we're Black everything. It's not just one thing. But here we're only defending Black men, and that's a problem. That is, there's a lot of things that they do that we need to, you know, highlight. And I'm highlighting that through the art of photography because I think that's just going to be easiest. And I think that's more of an eye opener to discuss some of the ways that Black men have not been good to Black women. And then for April, Earth Day, you know, I really want to highlight the environment. There's, you know, last year I became a vegan and stuff. So for me personally, I just seen, this is not for every vegan, of course, like not every vegan is going to think like this, but for me, I just realized the morale of being vegan, you know, like just caring for the animals and treat them with as much kindness and respect as I would with a human being. You know, like something that I think about all the time is how the way we treat our animals is the same way we treat each other. For example, right, a dog and a cat, you use them like, you know, you pet them, you own them in your house and you treat them with all kindness and love, right? But when it comes to a pig, a cow, all these other animals, we see them for killing and eating. You know, but like there's a discrepancy there because if you think about it, for the way we treat in this society, the way white people are treated, for example, right? They're treated with love and kindness. They have white privilege and everything. But Black people, they're treated a similar way to cows, pigs, and all these things. And how, like, you know, we're constantly are the shit end of the stick, you know? So I just kind of saw that reflection as I was really thinking about, you know, animal rights. And so for April, I really want to focus on animal rights. I want to focus on environmental issues and really like, you know, getting people to calm down as well, because I feel like in this day and age, we have so much anxiety, you know. I think what I want to do for April is just bring a call back to nature, a call back to home, you know, through ASMR videos and also photography as well. And
so you're doing it all.
Huh?
You're doing it all.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because like all of these topics are really, really important to me. And they connect with me in some way. And I know it connects with a lot of people too, because, just sending out notices, people have been joining on to the ideas as well. But yeah, and then for June, I'm going to reload All Love Is Real Love and really going to highlight the models that took those photos, like you guys, for example, and, get your stories and understand like your coming out story. What do you think about the LGBTQ community? And that's just going to be like a docu-series just highlighting you guys. And then also incorporating a short film that highlights the issues between religion and the LGBTQ community, because they're gay event out there, but like we see that LGBTQ community, which is not right or fair. So that's something that I definitely want to highlight through a short film as well.
Okay.
And then I have other projects as well, such as I have this one in August called it's 3. One is called The Consent Chronicles, because something that I noticed in this day and age is that we struggle with what consent is. For men, they think that, not all men, of course, but with men, I feel like they don't know how to approach a woman anymore. It's like, if I just go near a woman, I'm afraid like she's going to say I raped her or whatever. Right. And then you have women who say like, it's just like they are either afraid to speak and know that they have their right to speak, or they're put in situations where they feel like they can't speak. So they don't even know that they're empowered to have the right to say, like, I need your consent. I want you to respect my boundaries and stuff. Right. So for the Consent Chronicles, I really want to highlight that for women and men, that you're empowered and you have the right to, demand consent when you, especially in sexual situations.
Yeah.
Right. And just to develop a new set of like guidelines to that issue, because our ancestors and the generations before us did not tell us how to do it right. If they did, we wouldn't even have this issue. So just like a little loose manual on like how to go about consent, and just talking and sharing our testimonies as well. And then doing 2 short films, one called Broken Record, where it's about a woman who just got raped, and she is internalizing it and she feels guilty and everything. But as she is reflecting and, sharing her story, she's keep getting like hit with like, it's not your fault, it's okay and everything, but she can't believe it. It's hard for her to like really take it in. And another one called From My Eyes, where we see a man and woman get raped from a subjective point of view. And you see how, society reacts to a man getting raped and the way society reacts to a woman getting raped, and how different they are. And then September, I'm talking about suicide. That one is a really, really tough topic. So that one is like, I'm trying to rack my brains on how to go about it. So that way, we don't have like another 13 reasons why, unfortunately. So for that one, I would like for people to share their poetry and really talk about suicide survival, because here we talk about suicide, but surviving suicide and what that looks like and how you approach each day. I know for me, that's a personal story for me as well, because like I approach each day trying to live for another day, and not have those thoughts rack my mind. So just having people share that story would be just a wonderful way to heal from suicide as well, like the suicidal thoughts and suicide ideations. And then October, that one is 4 productions. Oh my God, October is like the craziest month of all, because there's 2 photography productions and then 2 short films that I would like to release in that month. One would highlight domestic violence, and then another one would highlight like Halloween goth scene. And they're both photography productions as well. And then I have 2 short films. One is called Blood Ties, where a daughter goes to her father's funeral and then she seeks revenge. But instead of, getting justice, she ends up getting something else. But I can't tell you what it is because that would be a spoiler. And then the next one's called Smile. Smile is about a woman who is beating her husband in a fit of rage. Ooh. And as she's beating her husband, she's having flashbacks to the times where she had to smile and mask her pain. And for that one, I can personally relate to that one only because like I know what it's like to have to smile through pain and tell people I'm fine, when in actuality I'm not fine. I'm dying inside, for example,
Yeah.
And then yeah, I think that's about it actually. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, they're all like really personal
Mhm.
topics, and yeah, I think for this year I just really would like for people to heal, along with me, because I'm trying to heal as well. 2020 was a rough year for everyone.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Like, what are some
Yeah.
of the things that how have things been since the pandemic? I should say essentially.
If I'm being honest, during the pandemic, it was just a downward spiral for me,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. After getting hit with the news of COVID-19, I had to stop my work because I finally had gotten a job, and I was doing the training and everything. But as soon as the training was finished and we had to like actually go in to do the job, COVID-19 hit, so I barely got a job, and I was depressed. I was just watching anime all day because I'm an anime fan, and it was just hard for me to at least like feel like I was enough, even though I wasn't doing anything, right? So in quarantine, like I trained, and I was like doing karate for a bit and stuff, but then I had to like quit because quarantine again was just spiking up, and it wasn't worth like getting that risk, you know.
Okay.
And so with quarantine, like I just tried to do like a little creative things here and there, but it's been rough, and then having to see like what happened with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and everything. Like I was just traumatized all the time. That's how it felt, like just getting traumatized all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a rough year. I can't say like I was smiley as usual,
Okay.
or had an exciting year. But there were good moments. I have to say.
Moments. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little.
The thing that came out of the quarantine is that you were able to sit down and create all these wonderful ideas for new projects for the year.
Yeah.
And I think we spoke about that before, about for creatives, sometimes all we need is to kind of like just sit down and like have a moment to ourselves, and it kind of forces us to like think outside the box.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
Don't want to halt the interview, but I did want to touch on some of the things that you spoke about already. And one of them that struck me was the fact that you're a vegan now.
Yeah.
There's like this this trend over the past 4 or 5 years of it becoming, a huge wave of Black vegans.
Yeah.
And aside from the animal rights situation, like, what else? What are some of the benefits that you've already gained from being a vegan? And how long have you been a vegan? Like,
so vegan was since last May.
Since last May. Have you noticed any changes in like your body? Like, do you feel better? Have you lost weight? Like, what are the benefits of what have the benefits been for you?
The benefits, I say, like I think for me, like I got weight loss. That's one. That's not really a benefit, but it's just like one that I know people could relate to. I feel healthier. The only reason why I say I feel healthier is because I've been doing the research to know what will actually help me be healthier. And I think like there's a lot of myths, like being vegan is not necessarily the healthiest way, because you could eat fries, you can eat like the fried donuts or whatever. Like there's vegan things that are not healthy. Yeah, exactly. So for me, what really helped me was not so much veganism, but really herbalism, I think, because I'm all into like trying to use nature and like plants as natural medicine, and so that along with being vegan, is what's been helping me. I put things that make me feel alive inside. Also another myth, like if you're a vegan and you're like eating too fast, you're still gonna have issues. Like you're gonna have heartburn, you're gonna have all these issues in your insides. You have to learn to like eat slow, for example, or you need to know the right times to eat certain foods. Like for example, pistachios, you should eat that at night because pistachios has melatonin and it helps you to go to sleep. You should eat a bit apple in the morning because apples gives you energy in the morning, and 2 bananas if you want to like do a 90-minute workout. 2 bananas will help you give you that same energy than coffee. So there's lots of things that you just need to know, like the specific times to eat them. So it's not so much vegan. It's like you could be like a meat eater, and eat the meat at the right times, and you should be fine. But then there's vegans who are doing the veganism right and they still get cancer. Like how do you explain that, right? Because there's other issues besides just eating plants. Like you can eat plants, but look what they're doing to plants. They're putting, synthetic stuff in their plants. They're doing a lot of things. Like, for example, the vegan meats. I don't know if you guys follow Food Babe, but Food Babe just like made a blog post about how the vegan meats has this thing. I forgot what's called, but it's the same chemical that is used in cars, but that they use to help mold the meat into make it look like meat. Yeah. So
those vegans that create fake meat stuff. And it's meatless. It'd be like meatless spaghetti balls and meatless.
I'm like, how?
Yeah.
I'm like, how? Call it something else. Okay.
Yeah, like meat. It's not meat.
Tires.
You know what I mean? And it's actually much worse, because people don't know that. Thanks to Food Babe for doing the research.
Well, I mean, the keto diet is definitely something that a lot of people talk about that gives people actual results, and not only just for the vanity of like losing weight or anything like that, but to be healthy.
Yeah, exactly. And also like you have to understand your body. That's another myth. Like just going vegan might not be for you. If you're going to go vegan, you need to know what's right for you. Like you need to do the research, and like if you're not going to eat meat, what are you going to replace your proteins with? Eat beans, all types of beans as protein. Chickpeas, kidney beans, all beans. Mushrooms are good for your antioxidants and your vitamin D. It's the only vegetable that has vitamin D, if you can't get access to the sun. So there are things that you just need to do your research on before you just hop on the bandwagon to like some diet, because each diet has its cons and pros. Like that's something like people need to understand. Like veganism is not the end all be all. Like you could have a mixture, but like, for example, if you're going to eat meat, don't eat too much meat, because eating too much meat after a while will do damage to your body. Because the way your intestines is set up, it's set up in a way where it slowly digests your food as it goes down. In animals, the reason why you see that animals eat their prey and stuff like that, their digestive system is much smaller, so it could process things faster. Whereas for humans, we can't process the meat as fast as we're intaking it. So yes, eat your meat, but don't eat it too much. Like have it twice a week, for example, so that your body has time to digest it, and eat the right meats, the grass-fed, the organics. Don't eat like regular McDonald's, because McDonald's can last for 20 years. There's like videos of McDonald's meat lasting like 20 years. Imagine if you're going to hit your 40s, McDonald's is still in your belly, and it's not digested. So you really have to understand.
We have that issue then by the time we get to 40.
Exactly.
Sure everybody on this panel has had Happy Meals.
Okay.
Yeah. So also a combination of herbalism too.
Don't step on my feet, honey. I had McDonald's.
Do you participate in like annual cleanses?
Cleanses. I have done some cleanses. Like for example, I've taken lime water and cayenne pepper and mixed in water, and I drink that before I eat or drink anything, because to detoxify what's there from last night that didn't get fully flushed out, and then just easier to process your food. I put turmeric in my teas to help with any inflammations in my body. If I have a toothache, for example, I put turmeric and cloves on my tooth to heal it. Turmeric, yeah. Turmeric.
It's turmeric.
Thank you. Turmeric.
Okay.
Turmeric.
Thank you. But yeah, I put that with cloves, and like I put it on my toothache if I have toothaches. I use coconut oil as my mouthwash. So like there's a lot of other things. And also like your water supply too is something you have to be careful of. So there's all these ways of like killing us, besides like, so even if you hopped on any diet, you're still going to die somehow. You know what I mean? And that's like the tragic truth if you don't do your research.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're all...
Death is the only appointment we'll never be late for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're really invested in like in health and wellness. And I think that by you putting that into your art or spinning things that actually have affected your life, moving it into your art space is really important. Yeah. And so I appreciate and I respect you for that as an artist, that you are doing that. But Darren, you wanted to jump in. I know you had something.
I just wanted to have one more closing question for the interview. Let's talk about your role in the Cozy Chat podcast. I want to give you some promo because I know you just started podcasting with them, and just tell us what it's about and why did you join, and
Yeah, so stuff. The Cozy Chat was created to talk about Black topics, Black issues, Black stories, really like focus on how our, how we identify as individuals affect, how we navigate in this world. So what you're going to see now when you go on the Cozy Tie is a lot of like Black issue topics, or topics where like we get it from the Black people lens, and yeah, it's just to highlight and empower us. That's why we created it as well. It started off with Corey and Sasha at first, and then I came on when Sasha couldn't do it, and then the three of us ended up going on together, which is great. And we've just kind of dived into a lot of crazy topics. Kind of like, for example, interracial dating, a lot of the news, like with, what's that guy's face? Nick Cannon, for example, and what was going on with him. When he made that comment, it was like a while ago, he made a comment about like, how people with melanin are kinder to others in comparison to white people. We talked about this guy, I forgot his name, this Black guy who really embarrassed a Black woman on his live stream when she was asking him questions on like how to like level up in relationships and stuff. And he kind of like really embarrassed her. Yeah, exactly.
No, on the side, like she wasn't like, it still wasn't kind of like.
Yeah, it was very like conflicting, because like the way we went about it too in that conversation was we were talking about how he still disrespected her. Like he didn't have to go that far, but we could also see why he did, because she wasn't listening and she wasn't really defending herself as well, but it still didn't give him the right to like go that far. I think
you disrespected her by calling her ugly, or.
Well, like it was a while ago, but like he was calling her ugly, and he was saying like, "Oh, you'll never, you'll always be alone." Like that's just harsh to say,
I mean, but the thing was like, you don't like, and I watched it, and I think I've seen some of his other clips, and I think that's kind of, I won't say part of his shtick, but most people like watching because he's unabashedly unfiltered and kind of just gives his opinion. And my thing is, if you ask me for my opinion, don't try to then debate me about it, especially if you're asking me for advice on something that you trust I'm going to give you the right advice on.
Okay, I'm under a rock. Can somebody relay me what's going on?
Yeah, I think we talked about this. We talked about this on the show before, where the guy was on IG Live. He has a show, and a girl called in. I'll send you I think I still have it saved in my phone. She called in about, how does she go about trying to attract like a man that makes more money than her. Yeah. And like, she was listing like what she wants. And he said, "How old are you?" And she's like 35. He was like, "And do you have kids?" She's like, "Yeah, I do have kids." Like, so you're over 30 with kids and you look average, but you want a man who is more affluential and influential than you to be attracted to you as a partner. And he was like, well, that's just unrealistic, because most people in that particular status, I mean, money does change things. It's like the men with power typically are looking for a young, hot wife. Like, it's a shame. It's like mostly look for trophies.
Yeah.
Personality is secondary. And with no kids. It's like you're over 30. You look average at best. So you should be looking for men in your
bracket,
your range, right?
Get what you can get.
Average man, right? And she was like, "But that's not what I want." And he was like, "I'm trying to tell you, you're going to be more successful getting someone a man that wants kids, who's not looking for this woman that's going to be a 10 all the time." Like, and she just was saying, "Well, I want blah blah blah," and he's just like, "Okay, you're not getting it, girl. You ugly, you old, and you got a baby, and it ain't happening."
Yeah.
Well, see, it's his opinion, but it's like, for me, when we get into a debate or a discussion or a topic, I think, and this is not hot topics right now. I'm gonna just say this. I feel like we can have a discussion, but it's when you get disrespectful is when it gets too far, and it's like, okay, we're having a conversation, and things get, and you're bringing in things. I just had listen to this. I just had a little discussion with my best friend about Wendy Williams, and I was on her side about. I'm not gonna tell you the basis of the argument or whatever, but I'm like, Okay, we can have a discussion, but don't sit there and try to discredit me, because it says, first of all, we're discussing something. Okay, now him saying that you're ugly, you're never gonna find nobody. I mean, ugly is and I said this on Twitter a couple days ago. Ugly is in the eye of the beholder. I definitely feel like you shouldn't be settling, but you definitely should be trying to get someone that's realistic. So I kind of agree with him. But it's just the way you say it. And we're on a public forum, and you're going to be
actually ugly outright. That was just me paraphrasing.
Oh, okay.
Like in every sense of where he was like, "Girl," he said, "Do you have a mirror?" He said, "Do you own a mirror?"
You're average at best.
He said, "You're average at best." So you shouldn't expect you shouldn't expect that type of fairy tale to happen for you at this stage of your life.
Mm-hmm.
When,
and it didn't make it easy either, because she wasn't like, she would be like this. Like, imagine having a conversation with someone and she's like, this as he's talking, and like I could see why he got frustrated, because she's not even taking the advice when he was talking about something else. Like, she wanted counseling, and he was like, I don't do counseling like that. You have to go on my website and book me. Right now we're talking about something different, and she wasn't listening. So he entertained it, which, that was his choice. He could have just let that thing go. You know what I mean? But he decided to entertain it.
Because then that looks bad, because now people on the outside are gonna be like, oh, well, he seemed like he disrespectful. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His views went up, actually.
Huh?
His views went up, actually.
Oh, well. Like I said, I don't. Huh?
Which is why we waited for this Wendy Williams video.
Oh.
Or Dr.
I can't wait for this. I'm gonna be in here like.
I know. You be taking notes and everything.
Oh, that's okay. That's how she did it. Okay.
I'm trying to do cocaine in the studio now.
Now, don't do me. Don't do me.
Our next guest.
Oh my God. Anyway.